I'm just filming this video because I wanted to let you know, because I forgot to let you know in my previous videos, that I'm not going to be able to film this coming Wednesday because I am going on a supported outing, my once every 8-week supported outing, so I won't be able to film this coming Wednesday. I just thought I'd let you know. So I'm sort of filming today instead really, but I might produce another video next week, either on Tuesday or on Thursday. I say might because I don't want to commit myself, because, like, you know, it's possible I won't, but I'm just letting you know now in advance. I thought I'd use this video to answer 2 of your questions from 2 viewers. The first question was if money were, I think it was something along the lines of, if money was no object, what big thing would I buy? Well, to me that's a no-brainer. If I had enough money, the thing I would buy would be a detached house, kind of as far away from human habitation as I can get, without being completely isolated from infrastructure, if that makes sense. So what I mean is, if money were no object, of course I'd want to live somewhere surrounded by nature, away from people, so that I don't have to, with like a really big driveway and a big gate and wall, like a really high wall, and lots of trees. The only sounds I would hear would be the wind moving the trees, the leaves in the wind, natural bird song, which is never irritating, because it's a natural sound. Yeah, and it would have like quite a big library, and it wouldn't be a big house, but it would just be, because I wouldn't want a big house anyway. But if money were no object, I'd certainly want to live somewhere. I want to live like as far away from people as possible, but at the same time, not so far away that I couldn't easily access amenities. So yeah, I just want to be a little bit removed, basically, from other people. And yeah, but that's what I would do if money were no object. The other question from another viewer, I think, was something to do with textures, and I think they said that when they were young, they found certain textures really soothing or calming, and they wanted to know whether that was the same for me. I don't know quite how to answer that question, because it depends what texture you are referring to. In terms of touch, I've never been a particularly tactile person, but that being said, you know, there are certain feelings that come from certain, say, textures that are, I guess, more calming than others. For example, I do quite like snuggling under a soft woolen blanket when it's cold outside and I go to bed. I always have a blanket like that on, which is nice to snuggle under. But I think where I get most satisfaction on a textual level, I guess, is obviously from food, which, as my regular viewers will be aware, is obviously my major special interest and an enduring special interest, because I've had it kind of all my life. I've been a ravenous eater. I think sometimes people could get a bit confused when I say that, because it doesn't, you know, because they think, oh, you're so small, you're so slim, how's, you know. But no, I don't eat all the time. I just really get a lot of satisfaction out of food, and I think I am a little bit in a minority there in the amongst autistic people, because most autistic people, more often than not, seem to have aversions to food. So for them, tastes, textures are more likely to be, say, aversive, or they might just have a few food items that they really like, but they often have really limited, sort of bland diets. That's never been the case for me. I've always been a very sort of intrepid kind of explorer of different culinary experiences. I mean, obviously when I was a child, there were certain foods that were more pleasurable for me than others, and I did have particular foods that I would talk about non-stop. That kind of really my interest pivoted around these foods, which were, and this was when I was a child, tuna. I could not get enough tuna. So whenever we went out, I would always have tuna, well, pretty much always want to have something that had tuna in it, like tuna sandwiches, tuna jacket potato, tuna. I just love tuna mayonnaise. So there must have been something to do with the texture of that I found particularly satisfying. The other one was pork pie. My grandfather introduced me to pork pie when I went over to stay at his house as a child, and I think he was a bit of a fan of pork pie, you know, the proper old-fashioned pork pies. And so when I went to his house, he obviously introduced me to pork pie, and I kind of associated pork pie from then on with him. One time he got a really big pork pie, and I practically devoured the whole thing, because I kept on going back and back. Bearing in mind I was only a little child at this point, about 8 or 9 maybe, and I kept on going back and back for more. So other people only had small amounts, but I just kept on eating it, and it was kind of a bit of a running joke, you know, where did I put it all? He would often point at my stomach and say, "You're going to end up a little bit, you know, pot-bellied." I didn't, because I only overate like that in these exceptional moments, you know, when, say, it's like families getting together and there's lots of food and everything, you know, because otherwise obviously my parents are very much in control of my eating, so I never like overate normally. Just whenever I could, I kind of went overboard and sort of stuffed myself. So yeah, pork pie, I constantly talked about pork pie. It was on my brain, pork pie and tuna. And the third food that I really couldn't get enough of was potatoes. So yes, I was constantly talking about potatoes as well. My particular, I remember normally when I was at school I was like in another world, switching off, because I found a lot of schoolwork incredibly boring and I didn't do my work. I was a chronic daydreamer. But I did get switched on when it was something to do with my interests, and obviously food being my interest. So in year 5 we did a potato project at school, and it's all about potatoes, and we had to sort of design our own potato. So on a bit of paper we had to draw a picture of a potato, a jacket potato, and kind of with our own fillings in it and stuff. Can't quite remember what the point of that exercise was, but I really enjoyed it. And we also did blind testing of different potatoes, so wearing a blindfold, and then going to different booths in the classroom, so trying out roast potato, mashed potato, boiled potato with blindfold on, and you took a glass of water between each bite. You had to sort of write about the potato. I loved it. That was the best. And also growing potatoes. We grew potatoes in year 5 as well, I remember, out in the garden plot at school. So yes, the potato project, fond memories of that. But yes, so I think those 3 foods were my favourite. But like I say, whenever I had the opportunity to eat, like at school camp, for example, in year 5 and year 6, I could not stop. I went back and back for more and more food. So the head teacher found it very funny as well. She said, I don't know where you put it. Everyone said that because I was so small and tiny. Like, if you think I'm small now, when I was a child, I was really, really tiny. Like a midget. So small. So no one could understand it. But, you know, I just don't seem to put on weight. So that's just how I am. But like I say, I wasn't overeating all the time. It was only in those moments anyway. So, you know. And I think you could get away with it more when you were a kid. I do remember also in year 5, during a Christmas party. That's the only reason I like Christmas party, because of good food. I remember eating 5 muffins, one after the other. I would not stop eating. So for me it's like the opposite extreme to like most autistic people. I'm sure there must be some other autistic people who are like me, but I do seem to find, you know, I'm in a minority in that. It's like, from a sensory perspective, I guess I'm the opposite. It's like food for me is a really positive, pleasurable sensory experience, which is unlike most of my sensory experiences, because most of my sensory experiences like noise, light, movement and so on are negative and cause me a great deal of stress. But for me, it's the opposite with food. So I guess I'm quite lucky in that respect. At least I do have a positive. And now, obviously, as an adult, it's become a very healthy interest. Of course, I don't overeat anymore. I'm very, I eat healthily, I think, and but I think I've got quite a healthy attitude to food because, I don't deny myself anything. It's just I eat in moderation and I follow nutritional guidelines and take it very seriously. So it has kind of morphed and evolved through time, this interest, and obviously nowadays it's really into cooking and everything. I've always been into cooking, again, because I used to help out my mum a lot in the kitchen. I think that helped me get into it. If your parents get you into cooking at a young age and you cook for your parents, that can kind of instill kind of good habits as well, I think. So I was quite lucky that, my mum often got me involved in the kitchen, baking and stuff. I really enjoyed the whole process, of watching things take shape, So yes, that maybe kind of also fueled the interest as well. But like I say, I've just always been into my food. Even as a baby, I was into my food. Yes. My mum said that when I was feeding, because I was breastfed, until I was just over a year, according to my mum, and she said that when I was feeding, I would always like wiggle my legs and like my toes with great satisfaction, and I couldn't get enough of it. So yeah, I've always been into my food. Like, that's never been a problem. It's the other extreme for me, to the point of obsession. Must be deeply into it. I don't know whether, sometimes I wonder whether it's the fact that, I don't know if I told you this before, but before I was born, I stopped growing in utero. Because my mum blamed it at the time on her being like really, really stressed, because her mum had recently been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and my mum was really stressed, and I stopped growing. I did start growing again. This was when my mum was like about 6 months pregnant, and they were concerned at the time that I might have to be born early, but as it turned out, she could take me to term. But yeah, because I did start growing again. But I do sometimes wonder whether, if I was like starved a little bit of like nutrients because my mum wasn't eating, whether or not that made me want to eat more, or maybe like made me eat more into food or something weird like that, like almost like as a compensatory mechanism. I don't know. Like almost like a survival instinct, like now I need to eat as much as possible. I don't know, it's just a theory. But anyway, I don't know, I've kind of gone off on a tangent a little bit. I haven't really answered, I don't know if I've answered the question or not, because you were asking about textures, and I don't quite know what textures you're referring to, whether you're referring more to, say, blankets or things like that, or clothing, or that sort of thing. Because I'm not sure about that, like I say, I do like soft fabrics. In terms of clothing, I tend to go for like natural fibres, natural fabrics, cotton as much as possible. It's important to me that something feels right. I won't just buy it for fashion's sake. I do quite like wearing jogging bottoms. Most of the time I wear jogging bottoms. I prefer them to jeans. I do have some jeans, but jogging bottoms are infinitely preferable to jeans, and I'd rather buy jogging bottoms than buy a fashionable pair of jeans. I do have some skinny pairs of jeans. I think that was because they're quite fashionable, aren't they, skinny jeans? And then I was going through a phase where I was trying to fit in, so I got some of them, but I wear them, but they're never as comfortable as jogging bottoms, so I don't wear them that often. I do wear them because I bought them, so I feel like I've got to wear them now and again, otherwise what's the point in having them? But most of the time I wear jogging bottoms, 9 times out of 10 these days, because they're just so much more comfortable, and you can I like them slightly baggy, so you can they just feel better. Yeah. So I don't like things that are too tight fitting, really. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question anyway, because I was mainly talking about food, but just in terms of textures, I guess food is where I get most pleasurable textural experiences and satisfaction. But like I say, in terms of fabrics, I prefer natural fibres, cottons, and that sort of thing to feel most comfortable. Anyhow, I'm going to finish now, and I very much look forward to speaking to you very soon. So thank you for watching.